Tensions in the Middle East escalated sharply after reports that the United States and Israel carried out strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, particularly the Natanz site. According to initial updates from international observers and Iranian authorities, there were no confirmed signs of radiation leakage, and nearby civilian populations were not immediately reported to be at risk. Iran strongly condemned the attack, calling it a serious violation of international law and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and informed the International Atomic Energy Agency about the incident. The IAEA stated that it was closely monitoring the situation and had not detected any increase in radiation levels at the site. Meanwhile, Russia also criticized the strikes, labeling them unlawful and warning that such actions could further destabilize an already volatile region. The situation quickly intensified as Iran responded by launching ballistic missiles toward a joint US-UK military base in the Indian Ocean region. Iranian media claimed the attack demonstrated the extended range and capability of its missile systems, although Western reports suggested the strike did not successfully hit its intended targets. The United Kingdom condemned the escalation but also indicated support for US actions, allowing the use of its military facilities. Global concerns began to rise over the potential disruption of oil supplies and the broader impact on international security. Iran's leadership maintained that negotiations could not proceed under active military pressure, emphasizing that its defensive actions would continue as long as necessary. Iran's response to the escalating conflict extended beyond immediate military retaliation, signaling a broader strategic and political stance. Officials in Tehran emphasized that the recent strikes had exposed the vulnerability of nuclear facilities across the region, warning that continued aggression could lead to even more severe consequences. The Iranian government formally notified the International Atomic Energy Agency about the attacks, urging the global body to take a clear position on what it described as unlawful aggression. At the same time, Iranian leaders rejected any possibility of resuming negotiations under pressure, stating that dialogue could only take place once hostilities ceased completely. Support for Iran began to emerge from key global players, most notably Vladimir Putin, who publicly declared Russia's unconditional backing of Tehran. Moscow described Iran as a reliable partner and criticized Western actions as destabilizing and contrary to international norms. This endorsement added a new dimension to the crisis, raising fears of a broader geopolitical divide. Meanwhile, the United States introduced a temporary measure allowing limited sales of Iranian oil under specific conditions, a move seen by some analysts as an attempt to stabilize global energy markets amid rising uncertainty. However, Iranian officials dismissed the decision as a psychological tactic rather than a meaningful policy shift. With tensions still high and diplomatic channels effectively stalled, the situation continued to evolve, leaving the international community concerned about the risk of further escalation and long-term instability in the region. Amid the rising international crisis, developments within Pakistan reflected both security concerns and efforts to maintain internal stability. Asim Munir emphasized that militant groups operating from neighboring Afghanistan would not be allowed to threaten Pakistan's security. He stated that Afghan territory should not be used by hostile elements against Pakistan and reaffirmed the military's commitment to counterterrorism operations. During a visit to Qumran, he met with troops and praised their professionalism, high morale, and dedication, while also offering prayers for the country's peace and long-term stability. At the same time, the nation was observing Eid al-Fitr with religious devotion and unity. Across cities and towns, large congregations gathered to offer Eid prayers, with special supplications made for national prosperity and the well-being of the Muslim community worldwide. Leaders including Asif Ali Zardari and Shahbaz Sharif extended their greetings to the nation, urging citizens to remember the less fortunate and strengthen unity during challenging times. Despite the festive atmosphere, officials acknowledged underlying regional tensions and uncertainties affecting the country. Messages from leadership highlighted the importance of solidarity, compassion, and resilience, especially as global instability continues to impact economic and security conditions. The contrast between celebration and caution underscored Pakistan's position in a rapidly changing geopolitical environment, where both internal harmony and external vigilance remain equally critical. Economic concerns began to take center stage as the government moved to shield citizens from the global fallout of rising tensions and potential conflict in the Middle East. Shahbaz Sharif announced that a major proposed increase in petroleum prices had been rejected, citing the financial burden it would place on the public, especially during festive days. The proposal included a significant hike in both petrol and diesel prices, but the government chose to absorb the cost, reportedly taking on billions in additional financial pressure to maintain stability in domestic markets. This decision was presented as part of a broader effort to provide relief and prevent further inflation during uncertain times. Officials explained that the global surge in oil prices, driven by escalating geopolitical tensions, had forced many countries to pass costs onto consumers. However, Pakistan opted for a different approach, prioritizing public welfare despite fiscal challenges. Ali Pervez Malik highlighted that strict cost-cutting measures have been implemented across government departments to offset the financial strain. These austerity steps included reducing operational expenses and limiting non-essential expenditures to ensure adequate fuel supply without increasing prices. At the same time, authorities warned that the situation remained unpredictable, with international oil markets likely to fluctuate further if the conflict intensified. Policymakers stressed the importance of national unity and collective responsibility in managing resources wisely. While the short-term relief brought some comfort, the government acknowledged that sustained global instability could pose serious economic challenges in the near future. The conflict continued to intensify as reports emerged of civilian casualties following strikes inside Iran. In one incident, a residential area in the city of Ramsar was hit, resulting in the deaths of members of a single family, including children. Iranian officials condemned the attack as a brutal act targeting innocent civilians, stating that such actions only strengthen national resolve rather than weaken it. In retaliation, Iran launched missile strikes toward Israel, with reports indicating that multiple locations were targeted. Israeli authorities claimed that while some missiles caused damage, including to a school building, the situation was largely contained through defense systems. Diplomatic statements from Tehran signaled a firm stance on ending the conflict. Abbas Araghchi emphasized that Iran was not seeking a temporary ceasefire but a complete and lasting end to the war, with guarantees that such aggression would not be repeated. He stated that the conflict had been imposed on Iran and that defensive measures would continue as long as necessary. Meanwhile, shifting rhetoric from Donald Trump added uncertainty, as he suggested that the United States was considering scaling back military involvement while also claiming progress toward ending hostilities. Globally, Muslims across countries marked Eid al-Fitr, offering prayers for peace and stability. Despite celebrations, the ongoing conflict cast a shadow, reminding the world of the urgent need for dialogue, restraint, and a sustainable resolution.